Hey Trish, how you doing?
I'm good, honey. I haven't seen you in person in so long, but seeing you on FaceTime, or what are we on? I don't know. Whatever. Seeing us here makes me so happy.
I know, it does me too. What's the weather in California? Sunny?
Yeah, sunny.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I feel like what Anchorman, sunny and 75. It is. It's gorgeous here. I mean, it's beautiful. What's going on in Chattanooga?
It's hot, and it's going to be raining for the next few days. So, yeah, I know. It'll give me a good excuse just to pile up with the dogs, though. And
isn't that the best? And then you can, binge watch a show, or the one I was just telling you to watch before we came on, y'all. Welcome to What I Know So Far. Y'all know how we get going. Karen and I come in like a barrel of monkeys, honey, just hot tomatoes. And so we love y'all for listening. Thank you so much. We're so grateful. Please rate, subscribe, review. I can't even say it all at one time. It means the world to us because we get more fun guests that way. And the world gets more exciting.
yes.
But before we came on, I said to Kay, I just finished Ted Lasso for the second time. All 3 seasons, y'all. If you haven't done it, do yourself a favor. Lord, that's a phenomenal show. When you watch it again, you realize all the Easter eggs in it of what it set up for the end. So I'm praying for that season 4.
Yes.
Can't wait. But I told Karen after that we watched the Steve Martin documentary on Apple. If you haven't watched it, please. It says, I think it's called My Life in 2 Pieces or something like, but Steve Martin. And just one of my heroes. And he's so brilliant that it was just one of those things you want to curl up in the rain and like get a notebook almost. Like you almost want to watch it and take notes and pause it because that's how, as comedians, that's how good it is.
Yeah, especially as a comedian. Yeah. He's the one that said, you know why I got out of comedy?
No, what he said? What he said?
Late Show Friday.
And he's not wrong.
No, if you're not a comic, you don't get that. But
let me tell you, I am, by the time this airs, this will already have happened, but I am working down in Pechanga, which is down Southern California, right, Temecula area. And I'm working during the week, and then I'm done. I'm working weekday. I'm not working weekend. And then I was like, oh, who's there on the weekend? Guess who's there on the weekend, y'all?
Who?
Seinfeld. I'm going to be like, listen, but this is why I'm telling you this. He does a 6:30 and a 9:30. I want to get to be so big that I can do a 4:30 and a 6:30.
Well, I'm not big, but that's what I do.
But that's what I want to aspire to, because I want everybody to either come in your jammies and be able to just go home in them. Like I want people to be able to still have their night.
Yeah. And Jerry did not listen to Jamie Lee Curtis when she said, "Please, can we have a matinee?"
Jamie Lee she's cutting edge. Jamie Lee Curtis is cutting edge, and I will be sending her an invitation to every show I have.
She speaks our demographic.
Yeah, she'll be thrilled. So that's what we were talking about. Karen goes, what do you want to talk about today? And I said, what if we talked about expectations? And I said, how does that feel to you? And Kay said, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Because expectations are something crazy. Not only the ones we have on ourselves,
yes,
but the ones we put on others because of the ones we have on ourselves.
Well, and the ones I have on me have been put on me since I was a child. A lot have. And then you finally lose that as you age. That's one of the good things about aging. And, it's so important to learn not to have expectations of others, because it leads to so much disappointment. And let people find their own way and be who they are, and, don't put them in a cage where they've got to be who you want them to be. That's just a bad formula.
I could not agree with that more. And I'm with you. I think, you get the expectations put on you, and then you believe the story you're told from a little age. Just that little age. I'm the oldest, and I'm the first. So I'm the unicorn in our family. They all say I'm the golden child because I'm the first grandchild. I'm the first niece, to everybody. I'm the first. I'm the oldest, beep, bop, and boop. So I had this level of expectation put on me to be golden, perfect all the time, that I was like, I must be that woman. So I think it's really interesting for us to just start looking at ourselves and going, man, why? where's this weird, there's no weird ticking clock. Like working in makeover television for so long, we had a fake ticking clock. That's the thing I used to laugh about on makeover TV is we'd be like, they're coming home. It's TV. We can control when they come home. I used to be so aggravated by that because it was this weird expectation. I understand it's the format of television, but
yes.
I used to be like, we can stall them. Like when there's a camera crew in their house. And people would look at me like I was nuts because I'd get so upset about that ticking clock. But I feel like we do that to ourselves in life.
Constantly. That's why just saying that about the rain. It's supposed to rain and I can curl up with the dogs. I don't feel like I could curl up with the dogs if it didn't rain because I have so many expectations of what I need to get done during the day.
Okay, preach on. Is that not the truth? Oh, I got a cold chill when you said that. Isn't that true? Because you're like, well, it's sunny out. I can't waste the day. I'm air quoting it, y'all, if you're not watching. I waste the day because you've got this perfectly great day. But when it rains, I've got permission. The expectations have changed.
Yes.
I had never thought about that till right this very second.
It's so true. I mean, I do that. I mean, the weather does so much to dictate what expectations I put on myself.
Well, let's be honest with this. If y'all don't know, you're new. During the pandemic, I moved to Atlanta. And I lived in Atlanta from 2020 to 2022. And it was not for me. I had lived in Southern California so long that I didn't realize I had seasonal affect disorder. And when I chose to move to Atlanta, obviously it was a global pandemic, but also, asterisk scroll down, it was one of the rainiest years on record for Georgia. And your girl don't do well with weather.
No.
So I got depressed and was in a ditch and I'd put all these expectations on myself to like get out and go. And then I was like, this is not my person. But I put all these expectations on this new chapter in Atlanta when really I had to give myself permission, change the expectations. And I looked at my husband and I said, I've got to go back to California for my mental health. And thank tiny baby Jesus, I have a man who's from Georgia, from Atlanta, and said, okay, let's go. And I've been thriving ever since, by the way. But it was a big expectation for me. I had so many expectations on what this life was going to be in Atlanta. And when it suddenly was not the things, and I had the perfect house, and I'd worked my butt off to create this space, it was not the thing. And I'd put all these expectations onto that life and went, I have to call it. And I had a lot of embarrassment to call that, by the way, because I thought, well, what else didn't I get right? You start to really, I don't know if anybody else has been in that position where you've created such a situation in your head of like, this is going to be amazing.
And it can create embarrassment, or you feel like you've made a bad decision that you don't feel good about, and what other decisions that start creating doubt.
Snowball.
Yeah. And so, but that's where you have to let go of it and say, hey, it's time to take a right here. It's not working. It's just like people who hang on to a business that's no longer working. Hey, there's no shame in the game to go do something else. I mean, it's just, it'll just prolong whatever's dragging you down.
In the words of Karen's favorite show, Ross Geller, pivot.
Pivot.
It was my pivot to California, and I was grateful to come back, and I realized a lot of things about myself personality-wise. Now, listen, I love the South. I'm not poo-pooing on Georgia. I'm certainly a proud Southerner, but I do realize that the weather for me is huge. I can't do it.
For me too.
I mean, if somebody tomorrow said, I'm going to give you everything in the whole free world to move to London, right? Here you can have the most gorgeous house. We'll get you a driver. I'd be like, nah, bro, because that weather would send me over the edge. I don't think there's enough tanning beds in all of the whole of the UK that could bring me enough. You have to know what you need to make you feel,
vibrant.
Okay, thank you.
Well, and I am so dreading the clocks being turned back. But because when it starts getting dark at 6 o'clock, I just want to cry.
Karen, me too. What, is there somebody we can petition? I know they've tried that, but I feel like there's something, you're not wrong. Because I feel the same way. Jason and I were just talking about it. We were talking about going to walk the dogs on a night walk tonight evening walk. And we go, oh gosh, the sun's going to start setting at 6:30. And it sets obviously sooner here on the West Coast because this is the last trip. It's ending. It's ending in the sky here. So I said, oh my gosh, 6:30. Like we both got nervous because we realized, dear Lord. And in California, I grew up in the South. So even it basically gets dark at 6 on the East Coast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ishi?
Yes.
In just y'all know, in California, it gets dark at 4:55. So you have to understand what, and I'm going to take this one step further. I grew up in the heart of the Appalachians, okay? Deep Appalachian. You don't know where that is? Google it. The Smoky Mountains. I grew up in the Cumberland Gap. Google it again. It used to not really get bright and sunny until 9, 10 a.m. because of the mountains on top, because the sun had truly come up over the mountains. And then it would get dark around 4:30, or just get grayer, I should say. Wouldn't get blackout, but darker around 4:35 because it went behind the mountains. And so I very much get stressed about just what you said, Kay. Not only daylight savings, but any dark cold.
Oh, yes.
Freaks me out.
With the dark and the cold? Now, just please tell me if I've already talked about this, because you know me, I can't remember anything about the show I did in Barrow, Alaska. Did I tell you that?
No.
Story?
Oh my gosh! Wait, I'm leaning in for this. Okay, set the story. Here we go.
Okay, one of my earliest gigs, and it was at a time when I didn't even think about logistics or do any research of where it was. It's just like, we want you to come, and I'm like, they're paying me to be a comedian. I'm there, so that's all I need to know. And so little did I know, this was Barrow, Alaska in February. Yes.
How much daylight?
Well, Barrow, Alaska is not accessible by land, first of all. I was flown in on a small plane that was also carrying the mail. So and also I was told that this was an event for the city employees who needed a morale boost. Okay, that's what I've been told. Okay, so I'm going in. Well, little did I know that Barrow stays dark 65 days straight.
Stop.
24 hours a day, 65 days straight. For 5 months out of the year, the average high temperature is below zero. Yeah. And they wanted me to make that better. So I get picked up by a lady that takes me to the hotel, which is I
love these air quotes. If y'all aren't watching and you're listening,
right.
Kay's air quoting the hotel.
Yeah, it was the room above the fire hall. And on the way to the hotel, I asked the lady driving, I said, will you stop and let me get a picture in front of the iceberg? And she said, that's not an iceberg. So that's the ocean. The ocean had frozen. A 30-foot wave was frozen in place. Yes. And she said it would thaw out in July and freeze back by October. And they wanted me to make that better. Everything I said, the worst show of my career. I mean, I talked about losing a car in the parking lot. What they didn't have, other than emergency vehicles, they didn't have but a few cars because they had to pay an ice road trucker $5,000 to bring one in. So they only had probably a dozen cars other than emergency vehicles, and they could keep up with them.
They knew where they were all at.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Barrow, Alaska, first of all, they should be paid to live there, first of all.
Absolutely.
Hefty salaries.
Yeah, you can see Russia from Barrow, Alaska.
Stop.
Yeah.
Hey, could you imagine? So let's talk about this, getting back to expectation. Your expectation going into that show was nifty. I'm going to get to see Alaska.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to get paid. I think at the time it was like $1,000. And
that was big money
like
back
big
then.
money. And I'm like, I'm going to get paid $1,000 and get to go to Alaska. And, you know, alcoholism, depression, suicide rate, very high in Barrow.
And by the way, completely substantiated. I would say if any place on planet Earth has a malady, they deserve to have all the afflictions in that state.
Yeah, because I wasn't there 24 hours and I was barely hanging on.
I'm sorry, Barrow, Alaska. We send you so much love and light. We are not being hateful, but we are completely empathetic to the plight. So for 5 months, is it for 5 months it's dark?
No, 5 months, the average high temperature is below zero. And for 65 days straight, it's just darkness.
So, y'all, that's a little over 2 months of complete darkness. I would be in a ditch in the fetal position. How long were you there, Karen?
Oh, 24 hours.
That was it. Literally just 24 hours.
And I was so nervous about being able to get out because there's blizzards and I'm thought, oh my gosh, I can't get stuck here. I mean, I was just.
Did you connect through Russia? I mean, what's the flight?
I have never taken a job that I didn't look and see where it was, how hard it was to get
from that moment on.
Yes, and the temperatures.
Karen and I will only be playing like Marrakesh, the South America.
Yes.
If there's warm, gorgeous weather, that's where you'll find Karen and I. That is, how do I not? I'm so thrilled you just told that story. How have we've been friends this long and I have never heard the Barrow, Alaska story.
It's true. But now let me just qualify that Alaska. Now, I did a cruise in Alaska one time, one of the most magnificent things I've ever done because I got to go on a whale watch.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So, and it was National Geographic stuff because the whales were feeding. It was during the herring run, and they were feeding.
And they're jumping?
Oh my gosh. We went out, and there was a pod of whales, about 16, 17 of them, and every few minutes you'd see the spray go up from the blowhole, and then they would breach the surface and peel off like a giant jump ball.
That's a great visual.
And then the second pod of whales showed up, and they started trumpeting back and forth, and the tour guide said that they were declaring territory.
Oh.
Said, it's like Whale Side Story.
You can tell these are the things that bring us great joy because I love, don't give me a pun, honey. I love it. I love a pun. I'll have a lick of sense over a pun. Bring them on. Hence why I probably love Ted Lasso so much.
Yeah.
And my husband because he's the king of a dad joke. Let me say, too, because the other flip side, because we aren't dogging Alaska, but darkness we're not a fan of. They also have the opposite in some locations, right? That it's light, like 24 hours. And there's some areas that I remember watching, what was that Darlin movie with Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds, where she fake makes him be engaged to her. Betty White steals the show. The Proposal.
Yeah, but the movie White Nights.
I've not seen it.
Oh yeah, that's an old movie.
Is that on Baryshnikov?
Yes. So I think that here I'm showing how stupid I am, but I think there is a period where it's dark. Total darkness for so many days and then totally
light.
Yeah,
okay. Because they're up there, meeting the Lord at the top of the world.
That's right.
This is where he's like, I'm off. That's when God's on hiatus. He's like, I can't be bothered with the sun this month. Or you can't be bothered with the moon that month. Wow. To me, that's fascinating. And I would do an Alaskan cruise.
It's beautiful. And bald eagles everywhere. And sea lions. Of course, when we're going out to the whale watch, I see a baby sea lion trying to get on a buoy. And I'm like, hey, we got to help this sea lion.
There she is. That's our girl. She's like, could we stop this cruise ship? Yeah. This little angel baby who's prehistorically built to live in the sea is completely going to need me. It's okay, Kate.
Yeah, I'm diving into this icy waters.
It's our expectations that you and I can save every animal, which, by the way, in my heart, I want to. So hopefully we will, save as many as we can. That's why I love you so much, Karen. You understand, like I understand, that there's an expectation that we were here to help the little creatures. And I feel like that was like in my heart from birth. So
I do too. Me too.
I know you do.
I know we're soul sisters in that way for sure.
We were, honestly, Karen and I. You don't even have to just tell me, and I'm booking a ticket and I'm coming to save them all. Poor Jay Spencer. Thank God for social media sharing all these animals that are in places that are. Don't maybe have as many people coming to look for animals at shelters as other places. And there was a sweet 2-year-old purebred lab at a shelter the other day in a not desirable area out in California, and I said, we've got to go get this baby. And Jace is like, we have almost 200 pounds of dog. He's like, can you please just reshare it and help somebody who would love a gorgeous purebred? I was like, we have to go save him. And Jace was like, he had to literally grab me by the shoulders, Kay. And I called the shelter. Somebody already got him, so listen.
Oh, we love a happy ending.
I've been in a ditch. Yes. Because I was like, we've got to go. He's like, what are we going to do with a third baby? We don't need, because he was like 80 pounds. Darling. And I don't have a lick of sense over a lab. He's like, that's so much more dog hair. I'm like, I don't care. It's my expectations. I will be that crazy dog mom forever, and I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I'm cool with it too.
Cool with it. Now, I looked up some things about ways to manage expectations, and I feel like you and I should go over them to see if we feel like these are realistic.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Set reasonable expectations. Having unrealistic expectations can make goals seem out of reach and lead to feelings of being overwhelmed. Well, that sounds good on paper, Bob.
Yeah. What I am trying to do that kind of falls into that, let me reword that. I'm not trying to do it. I'm thinking about trying to do it.
Okay. That's half the battle. Yeah.
So, but is to take a small task, set an alarm, work on something for 30 minutes, and then because I get overwhelmed with all the things. So if I could make little chips at things, eventually that adds up. I can do that with cleaning and purging. I can take one drawer at a time. I can do it in that respect. But somehow with writing and comedy and creating content, I don't do as well. So I'm working on that.
I love you for that because I suffer from the same affliction, and I'll scroll when I've had to set time limits on everything for scrolling. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but that timer method on off is called the Pomodoro method. Do you know about that?
I did not know that.
There's a lot of, and listen, suddenly I just became an expert. I'm not. There's a bunch of apps, free apps on your phone that you can go download a Pomodoro timer. So it's to set a clock and for whatever time works for you, right? I do 20 minutes on, 5 minutes off. Because if not, I'm like a squirrel. I have ADHD like nobody's beeswax. So I'll do a 20-minute on, 5-minute off to give my brain a second. Because if not, I will go do 14. I'll start looking for houses. We don't even need a house. We love our house.
I do the same.
Okay,
I get so distracted, and it's terrible. I don't know. There's a great quote that says the magic, something like the magic lies in the work you're avoiding.
Oh, that's so good.
It is, and it is so good, and it's just, it just hits home too close.
And I've been doing, I'll say too, because my expectations too of creating, same thing. Okay, I have all these expectations of I have to get a new hour out, and I have to create a new hour of comedy, and then I have 14 other things that I'm doing on the side. I start putting all this unnecessary pressure, which is my expectation of what I should have accomplished. Instead of really what people don't realize, you could have a joke you've been doing for years and then suddenly you're able to turn that joke and it's like twisting a Rubik's Cube. Mm-hmm. And you suddenly have got the better tag, or it's finally evolved to where it's like, that's why I've been doing it this is why I've hung on to this darn thing like an old t-shirt. There's something there. And I'm starting to give myself a little more grace for my unfinished works in my book because I'm not a joke writer. Karen will attest that. I'm a storyteller. And so I'll start writing down stories and remembering stories the way I want to tell them. And sometimes it just kind of goes and there's no real end because I'm trying to really button up the story. And 90% of mine, I would say 95% of my stories are all true. There's very rarely some, of course, I'm a comic, we embellish, but I'll get into something and I'm like, and then I get mad at myself and think, no one needs to hear that, and then I'll kind of throw it away and do it at a show as just let's see. And people start crying and I'm like, why did I pull that out of the bag? And then, right. And then you get the affirmation that it actually does work. And then you tell yourself, I've got to go work on that more, which also means getting in front of people, not just me writing in downtime. So we've got this weird, I feel like expectation I do on both sides of stage time equals writing time equals execution. And if I don't do it at a certain level, I get so angry with myself. And I'm like,
well, I do too. And, too much expectation keeps you in a state of feeling like a failure.
Oh, yeah, preach on that. Okay. Oh, if that's not the truth, let that hang for a hot second. Too much say that one more time because I jacked it up. Too much expectation
keeps you in a state of feeling like a failure.
And that's all the way around. That's relationships. That's your weight. That's fitness. That's your nutrition. I mean, last night I went and ate. It was free of all wheat-free, dairy-free, soy-free, gluten-free. Tasted delicious, but I had a sweet treat. After I should not be eating sweet treats. And I mentally went down this ditch of, well, you might as well now just eat a sleeve of Oreos. I went straight into the crapper because I didn't meet my expectation instead of just letting it ride.
That's right. I know, it's so true. We all do it. And it's really just reframing how you look at things,
Yes, and be less hateful to yourself too, I think sometimes, and to others. I think that's a big part. My big thing is communicating. I don't communicate well. I'm a good communicator. I don't communicate to my husband well when I have set an expectation on a situation. It's usually a situation involving him. Poor Jace. I'm the queen of here's the plan. I love a plan. I'll have a logistic. I'm a Capricorn. Here's the 43 things. I've worked it out. And then he's like, well, can't we just go and see and let it, ride? I'm married to an Aries. That's why Karen and I get along so well.
I am.
And I'm like,
yeah, let's let this evolve.
Oh, okay. For example, y'all, we're going to Europe in November. And I said, we're going to Amsterdam for a couple of days. And I said, I really want to go to the Van Gogh Museum. After watching Ted Lasso, and there's an episode, they go to Amsterdam. I said, let's go to the Van Gogh Museum. I said, I'm going to go ahead and make us reservations. And he goes, now? And I said, well, it sells out. We're not going to get up that morning. He goes, why not? And I thought, we are there for 48 hours. You want me to leave it to chance? But that's my expectation of this trip, where his is, let's let it unfold.
Well, and you're wanting to make sure that you get to do something that you'd like to do, too. I mean...
Thank you.
So I understand that. I mean, I would go as far as to schedule something if it meant a lot to me.
Okay,
but
thank you.
I can fly by the seat of my pants a lot of times. But if I really want something, then I'm going to make sure I get to do it.
Okay, you've got to teach me to fly by the seat of my pants. I do on stage. I do enjoy improv and in the moment, and I love when something happens in the room. I do enjoy that, but I have to have a plan, or I'd think the audience would be like, this woman's had a stroke. I have a plan. My show, I have a set. But when it comes to life, I have to let go of that plan. And that's also expectations of just letting things ride. And I don't know if y'all have these same issues, please message us. We want to know how you deal with it. Well, I need to know because I don't have it like Kay. Kay's got a little more understanding.
Well, you're type A personality.
I am.
Yeah. So you everything's got to be perfect and put away and structured and all that.
Not perfect, just structure. You're right. There has to be
structured. No, where I'm a type S personality.
What's type S?
Yeah, I look around at what needs to be done and go, screw it. I'm going to wing this.
Wing it. Yeah. Wing it. No, I don't have that. You're right. Even everything's planned.
Yeah, you're not caught up in perfection, but you are structured. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm certainly not a perfectionist. And I'm tougher on me than anybody else. That doesn't transfer to others. My expectation of others is that you just care. That you have a level of care. I was at the grocery store 2 days ago, and I grew up working hard with a hard work ethic. That's just where I'm at. And I have to let go now that this generation, the Gen Zers, don't have... for the most part, and I know I'm generalizing, but don't have this proactive, if you will, common sense. I'm at the grocery store, and I said, "Don't worry, I'll bag it. I bring my own bags." I'm watching this girl talk to the cashier, not listening to me. And I said, "Honey, I'm gonna bag it," and she throws my avocados and my tomatoes underneath olive oil and cans of beans. And I came unglued, y'all. And I know that's my expectation, but she ain't paying for my groceries. And if y'all bought an avocado lately, it's like buying diamonds.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, hey, what is wrong with you? And she looked at me, and I actually said, what was wrong with you? Normally, I'd go, talk to me about your plan. Like, normally, I'd back into that with a little more love. But I was so agitated that I picked up these tomatoes and picked up these avocados, and I was like, Trish. Like, I mentally had to walk it back because I realized I came at her hot at 90 miles an hour. And sometimes you've just got to say to somebody, what were you thinking? But I realized it was my expectation, and I begged her to let me bag. But she was kind enough to go get me new tomatoes, which I said, I'll go get, because why?
You want to pick them out.
I want to pick them out.
Yeah. Yeah. But, that comes down to, how long do you have to train not to know to put the...
Okay. Thank you, Kay. I thought that was me overly expectating.
No, that doesn't have anything to do with that. The expectation that you don't ruin my produce is not an unreasonable expectation.
Okay. Thank you. I'm overanalyzing my expectations lately, y'all, because I knew we were doing this episode, and I thought, man, am I just such high standards? Everybody lets me down, but I felt like that one was a fairly normal one. So thank you for co-signing that.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, expecting
common sense.
Yeah, common sense, and
beans before tomatoes. I mean, cans of beans. Thank you, Kay. That makes me feel better. I was like, man, something's nuts. Okay, I'm going on this list real quick so we can say yes or no. It says to manage perceptions. Make sure everyone's perception of a project is similar or the same. Well, I tried that with the beans, but here we are. Set clear goals. Setting clear goals and expectations can help create a supportive environment where a team can thrive. Okay. That sounds good on paper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think people need to be on the same page. I mean, basically, and know where we're all trying to get to.
That's true. That is so true.
You don't want someone working completely off. It's like with our teams with social media or whatever. We all got to be on the same page and have the same expectations
and same goal.
Yeah, that's right.
And know your tone. That's true.
Yeah.
Communicating regularly, communicating frequently, and honestly with everyone involved can help ensure that your plans are up to date. Communication's everything.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Mm-hmm. No matter what. And then this last one down here says, document. Expectation management is an ongoing process that should be documented. What does that look like? Dear diary, everybody let me down today.
Well, and I do know of a situation a friend has where she's upset about some things an employee's doing, but she really hasn't talked to her about expectations. And you can't assume that someone else knows what you want if you don't lay it out. I mean, to be fair, you can't expect someone else to share your brain.
That's exactly that. You're 100% right. And I've gotten much, much better at that with communicating those things. And I also think it's too, like, if you express it, this is what I've learned to do too. I express it, sometimes maybe not in the best way, because I just will get sharp-tongued in the sense of, I'm like, how come you didn't just understand that? And a lot of people, they don't have my brain. They don't think in a logistic way. And somebody goes, oh, my Lord, no, that makes sense. I just wouldn't have thought of it that way. It's learning to say something clearly and then let it go. You have to say it and let it go, because if you hold on to it, it's that old, you're drinking poison and thinking everybody else is going to die, but it's you. So I do say the thing now, whatever it is, verbalize it, and then just let it go.
There is one other problem with people getting off not on the same page with things, and I think that we have lost the skill of listening.
Whew.
I mean, I don't know if it's because you're distracted by phones and all the things, but, people half-ass listen.
That's so true. And everything, by the way, even comedy. You'll have people that are like listening to a clip online, and they'll get hateful over something because they didn't fully listen to the joke. And you're like, if you'd have fully listened, that'd have been a funny joke to you, or at the very least, you'd have understood the premise.
Right,
it's everything. It really is listening and learning to just focus on what's right in front of you. I think you're right. We've so many distractions now, and we're not meant to multitask. Contrary to popular belief, humans were not created to multitask. So we can only handle so much in the computer.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things halfway.
Preach on that. And I have.
And I've done it.
I was about to say, and I am a professional at it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why is everything halfway done? This is garbage. I also think, too, and it's not about not loving what you have. I think if you appreciate what you have in certain situations, expectations, if you're like, this is what's going on here, I'm grateful that I have great people around me, or I'm grateful for, it's something as simple as I'm grateful that I have a car that works and runs, and, I have a house that I can sleep in at night, and food in my cabinets. Like those little things help, I feel like, kind of tweak the expectation on certain things. Excuse me, y'all. But it's that tweaking of your gratitude. I feel like for me is what helps my expectations in a lot of situations where I go, gosh, I'm not where I want to be, but man, I wasn't where I was a year ago.
Well, and also gratitude takes you out of the future and keeps you in the present of what you have now, rather than what I don't have. I'm still trying to get there, and why hasn't this happened yet? And
I'm dropping all these truth bombs today, y'all. I'm saying.
Oh, I know. I'm just
wealth of knowledge. I'm here for it. So
much wisdom from this old gal.
So, what do you know so far about expectations in your life?
Well, I think that to limit them. I think I have to limit my expectations, keep them. I like the short victories. I think that's more productive. I don't always do it. It's a practice that I constantly battle. I do. It's just like, for me, I'm so lame. I mean, it's like meditating. I'll meditate, and then when nothing happens, I'm like, that doesn't work. It's a practice, and you have to give yourself credit for showing up and doing the best you can, and take that expectation off of you that you haven't done enough.
That's so true. Kay, that's so true. Oh, I didn't even think about that. It's about managing the expectation and time and grace. Give yourself time and grace, because you also then give other people time and grace. Woo!
Yes, and the better you manage your own expectations, I think the softer you are with other people about what they've been able to achieve, and to encourage them more. But when you're hard on yourself and think you should have done more, then you'll look at somebody else and think you should have done more.
Oh, that's a losing cycle right there.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Well, if we didn't just button that episode right on up with a yeah, it is, we give you new country words while we're here, too.
Yeah, that's it.
Yins is better, get better with that. It's true. And so our expectation is you all listen and share this episode with somebody that needs to talk about their expectations in life. What a great way to start my week. I mean, I know it's not the beginning of my week, but to just get to have this conversation with you. You're the best.
Oh, no, Trish.
You always meet my expectations.
Oh, you're so sweet.
You're the best. Y'all, thank you for listening to another fabulous episode of What I Know So Far. And yes, I went ahead and prophesied that it was a fabulous episode. So.
Yeah. No expectations there.
No expectations, none at all. So go ahead and rate, subscribe, review, wherever you listen to podcasts. Give it a share if you have somebody you think would like to.
Yeah, and we expect it.
We expect you to share it. Good, Gertie. And leave us a message or DM us on how you handle expectations, because goodness knows. We are on What I Know So Far Pod if you're on, if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, or you can follow us on our own socials, which I am at Trish Sir, TrishSUHR on all platforms. Karen Mills, where can they find you?
Karen Mills Comedy everywhere except Facebook, and that's Karen Mills Comedian.
See that? And just reach out. We love hearing from you. We love talking to you. We love being here with you. Let us know who you want us to have on, because we have some fun guests coming up super soon, which is great. And we hope you have the very best day ever.
Thank you so much for listening.
Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.